What is going on, everybody? The weekend is so close to being here. I'm so excited. Well, you guys saw the good news. We've got Mike accepted my challenge. Again, super excited about that. Haven't made much more progress, but I have all of the tin removed. So I just checked on that yesterday. So it is ready for incineration. But anyways, back to this video. So I changed my process like halfway through, or at least the plan of attack. So you'll find that out. I do a much better job explaining it when I get there. So we'll just wait till we get to that. So enjoy the video. I'll see you at the end. What is going on, everybody? All right. So today's video, I'm going to go ahead and scrap these down. I'll try to keep it short, and then I'm going to run them through sulfuric and nitric. See if we can pull just the silver off and see how much we can get just off of these 2 units. I'm not expecting a lot, but it would be interesting to see exactly how much silver we can get. I think this is concrete. Check that all out. This is all silver plated. Beautiful color. But there's tons of grease on it. So we have to make sure that we burn that off of there. And look at that. Nice copper underneath. So let's get all this cleaned up through incineration. And then we'll go ahead and dump it in the in our silver stripping solution. If I could space these out enough. There we go. Alright, I'm actually going to take some rubbing alcohols to these first, because that grease is high temp grease. Obviously there's a lot of current going through, which means there's going to be a lot of heat. So my torch is doing little to nothing to it. Alright, let's see what we got here. So this is the last of my very first bottle of sulfuric acid. Pour that in nicely. I don't think it's going to be enough. Nope. That is okay. I am going to keep this bottle though, because I'm going to reuse it for pouring old solutions like this back in. Time for the new stuff. Maybe. There we go. Get that off of there, and in she goes. Basically just enough to cover this. That is a lot of sulfuric acid. All right. And nitric. Break out the nitric acid and put a couple, we'll start there. Now, this is going to be a very time-consuming process because of the amount of nitric and the amount of sulfuric we have in here. I don't know if you can see right where I poured that. See how the nitric just eats the silver? So we should have a nice copper bar left over here. So there's a good example of where I poured some. You can see that silver coming off of there, showing that beautiful copper underneath. That's where I put the nitric in, so you can see it dissolved just the silver off of there. Alright, there we go. All that that silver is just being eliminated off of there. Nice copper left behind. You can still see we still have some silver to take off, but this is just kind of an update to show you where it's at. And this is no heat. We don't want to put any heat on this, because if we do heat the sulfuric up enough, it will dissolve the base metals. I found that out the hard way. So this is definitely a low and slow process, but as you can see, the solution is still crystal clear. We've got completely exposed copper, and that little bit of silver that we had on there is definitely being removed. Quick before and after, right? So that's what these all look like. All the silver. To that. So this will probably take a couple of days. There's no question about that. And it might not be worth going for this silver in here yet, because I don't think there's going to be a whole bunch of silver on that. We'll see. If we start to get the silver sulfate crystals on the bottom here, then I know we'll have a good saturated, well, a decently saturated solution. But I've come up with another idea as well that I'd like to take a look at. So maybe we'll talk about that here in a little bit. All right. So here we go. I could just put another one of these guys in. And these little guys are just about ready. So basically just dump it in here. And what I did last time is I left it in here, and that was a bad idea because it left a ton of stuff to deal with. So this go around, I'm just going to take it off and then give it a quick wipe. And any loose silver that's hardly attached will come off. There's going to be some that stays, right? Nice and clean. So this is a give and take. There's a time, there's a time where you can't just keep it in there. Like, you could keep this in there for, let's say, 2 or 3 days, but because it's open to the atmosphere, right, the sulfuric acid is going to slowly start to absorb just moisture out of the air, and it'll get to a point where you lose your protection. So the sulfuric acid protects your copper here, right? And that's why the nitric acid doesn't touch it. That's why it only touches the silver. So, but if you get too much moisture in here just from it being absorbed, all of a sudden that base metal isn't protected anymore, and it'll start to go into solution. So you have to be kind of quick about it so you can get as much done as possible before you absorb too much. So we're going to have to evaporate, some of that some of that moisture that's been absorbed in here when we're all said and done. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that at another time. I think I want to do. So my idea is, so I was going to see how much silver this has, but I honestly don't think it's going to be enough, and it's probably not going to be worth diluting 1,200 mils of sulfuric acid. So I actually think I want to do is I want to fill this solution up until that this is so saturated it can't hold any more silver in. And then what I think I want to do is I want to save it like that, and then the next time I try to do any of this plate stuff, what should happen is the silver sulfate will crystal out, crash out of solution basically, and be on the bottom. So then I could just filter this solution with fiberglass, and we don't have to worry about diluting it. We don't have to worry about I guess necessarily the time, right? So if we could fill this up as fast as possible, I mean, we will have to evaporate it now and again just to make sure that the level of moisture in here is at a level where it still protects our base metals, right? Because I mean, that's kind of the whole concept of this. But I think I want to try that instead of seeing how much this is, because this is probably going to be less than a gram or two. So here's a before and after. You can see we got a little bit of silver there. All right, guys. Well, I hope you like that. That silver stripping method works really good. I've heard that from a couple of my the Silver Squad, right? A couple members of the Silver Squad have let me know about that, and so I can't take credit for that one at all. It works great, though. It works great. So I don't think I mentioned what you could do. So there's different things, right? So like these ones are copper, right? Silver coated copper. So these are perfect candidates. I mean, they would have been great candidates to put in a stock, a temper or a stock pot, anyways, right? But I am going to use this solution. I'm going to keep it saturated and see how that works, because I think that we may be onto something. We may be onto something there, right? And it's only a theory until we test it. So I plan on testing that. But she's crying. She's been super fussy lately. So sorry about that. That's through two doors, right? That's through two doors. I got this door, and then they're in the bedroom door, and you can still hear that through. She is wailing. Her lungs work really well, so I'm happy about that. And I lost my train of thought, so hold on. I got to watch this, see what I was talking about. All right, stock pot. So the these bars that I've got out of the solution that are basically stripped. There's tiny little bits of silver that and it's basically like where it's sitting on the bottom, or if it's up against the beaker, it doesn't get that much time, or it doesn't see those as much new acids as the other stuff would, so it clings on. But that stuff will be removed when I put it in the stock pot. So all that silver will be captured, or if I want to purify that copper, run that through the cell, and then they'll be caught in the slimes. So that silver isn't going anywhere, and we will get it eventually. But like I said, I'm really interested in seeing how the saturated solution works, keeping it saturated, and then because that silver sulfate is super easy to change to metallic silver. You just so basically what I would do is put that filter, so fiberglass filter, because it's basically sulfuric acid, right? We don't want to eat the paper ones up. So I just put that fiberglass plug in some boiling distilled water. The distilled water will dissolve or absorb the silver sulfate, and then you put a little copper in there. The copper, I use like 3/4 inch copper pipe, and it cements out. So works really well. And so I want to try that. I think we're onto something. So, well, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Before I go, don't forget, I'm going to announce, we're going to attempt, let's say Tuesday. I'll be back Tuesday. So next week Tuesday, I'll announce the winners for 900 sub giveaway. So this new method I'm going to be using, you can comment as much as you want. So the more times you comment, the more times you're entered. So go ahead. I'll put the description. And if you're new here, I see we just picked up a bunch of new subscribers from Mike's channel. Go ahead, follow the link in the description. post 900 sub giveaway on there. I'll have that in the link as well. Make sure it's word for word, or letter for letter, I should say. There's really no words in it anyways. So because I will be typing that in on the filter section of this this app I'm using, and it will pull up basically everybody who's typed that in. So if you type it in wrong, you won't be put into that drawing. So I want you in there. If you're in here and you're typing that down, I want you in that award. So all right, there we go. Thanks again.